Yeah, I have my lunch. Yeah, so, chapter number 2, striving for equality. No, there are many challenges faced by the people of the lower caste in our country. The people who belong to different religion, the people who have different genders, so Dalit, women, tribals, peasants, they have been fighting for equality. Now go and check GS paper 2 syllabus. There you will find a topic about vulnerable section of our country. Vulnerable schemes for the vulnerable section of India. So state scheme started by center as well as state. Now first you need to understand what is the vulnerable section of India. So all these people, Dalits, women, tribals, peasants, they are considered as the vulnerable section. Why, how, and all the other things we will read later. But reading about them is a very essential part of your syllabus. That's what I want to say here. Okay, so do not take this lightly. It's a direct. This has direct correlation with your main syllabus. So if you're feeling that classes are going a little bit slow, I'm taking that much time purposely so that you can assimilate the topic properly. So that when you go on for writing, you have the enough content with you, or when you read further, you can actually understand and analyze the topic. My voice is not clear. Is it clear to all, or is just my voice is clear to all? Okay, Bina is saying it's clear. So yeah, it's clear to most of them. So Sakshi, please check from your side. Uh, so these are very important topics. Okay. Now, striving for equality. What do we mean that we got our independence? Independence should mean that everybody should be equally free, right? It doesn't mean that somebody get a special treatment and somebody doesn't. And that's what our constitution makers were trying to do. So our constitution was written in such a form that we can ensure equality for all, but still there has been many incidents where we can see that even after one well written constitution, where constitution ensures that all the people of India are equal, the inequality persists. The caste based, religion based, gender based discriminations still persist. Whenever you are writing about such issues, constitution is your best source to refer to. So कई बार आंसर राइटिंग में भी whenever you are writing answers for GS paper 2, one of the good ways to end or start the answer is to write about the constitution. So let's suppose there is a question about women. Sorry. You can directly start your answer by, we'll read about fundamental duties. We have not discussed it, but those who know about fundamental duties, you can directly start your answer with कि हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी में ऐसा बताया गया है that we should work for the safety, security, and dignity of women. And then you can start your answer ki what is the problem, what is, you can even bring that down to the conclusion and write the same thing. So knowing certain facts about the constitution is going to help you a lot in answer writing. इससे में तो बहुत काम आने वाला ही है. So our constitution says that we should respect the diversity. ठीक है. So respect for the diversity is one of the constitutional demand. Say, and this is also a very big debate in India, that what should be the status of Hindi? Do we need a mother tongue or national language? Sorry, mother tongue. Do we need a national language? Now, I remember a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. It goes something like that कि जिस राष्ट्र की अपनी राष्ट्रभाषा नहीं है वो राष्ट्र गूंगा है. A nation that doesn't have its own national language, it's dumb. So do you think that India should make a go and work for creating a national language? Do you think that Hindi, English, or any of the language can be given the status of national language in our country? Many of you will have diverse answers, and we are not going into the debate because syllabus khatam nahi hoga. But I'm just putting a virus in your head. Now you can go and search about this, and whenever we will find the time, we will discuss. But our constitution says that no one language, religion, or festival should be compulsory for all to follow. Now, ending this chapter again at a very emphatic line, which you can directly use in life, in debates, and in essay and answer writings. And you should understand this, that equality, although it has been guaranteed by the Constitution, enshrined in our Constitution, and then inequality exists, and you have to understand that equality is a value that we have to keep striving for. इक्वलिटी ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं है कि वन टाइम योर फोर फादर्स विल establish it and then the generations can continue getting the benefit of that. Every generation will have to fight for its own equality. We have to keep striving for equality. It's not something which will happen automatically. Equality will not come on its own. People's struggles and positive actions by the government are necessary to make this a reality for all Indians. So when people's protest when women's protest to get women's right, they have to fight. याद आ रही कविता नारी तुम उठो चलो संघर्ष करो तुमको लड़ना है अपनी खातिर. You have to fight for your own equality. Nobody is going to fight your war, your fight. And side by side, government can help by taking positive actions. We will read about positive actions a lot. There will be a great detail debate and discussion in this session about reservation. So positive actions are giving reservation to women at certain places or giving reservations to scheduled tribe, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs. The issue is again at very क्रिटिकल. अभी 50% कोटा हटाने की लगातार बात हो रही है. We will talk about if you are following the newspaper. So here we have to understand that equality is something that you have to keep striving for. Okay, that's the end of this chapter. Now, third chapter is about government. All of you have seen these drawings at some place, at some point in your life. R.K. Lakshmanan की drawing है is known as the common man. Very famous cartoons published in R.K. Lakshmanan, renowned cartoonist. Okay, so government. What we are going to read in this chapter is what is government and what do the governments do? What are the different types of government such as monarchies and democracies? ठीक है. See, government can be for doing anything in an organized manner. You need some kind of rules. You need some kind of policies to be followed. रमेश विल टॉक अबाउट रिजर्वेशन, चिंता मत करो, सोशियो में भी बात करना है, बहुत डिटेल से. सो we need some rules, we need some organization to function in a organized way, and for that we need government. Government is responsible for different things, and government acts as different labels. ये समझने वाली बात है यहाँ पे कि government acts as different labels. Different labels can be, so first local level, then state level, and then national level. So one single citizen, one single village can be governed by all these three levels of the government. एक मिनट रुको. सॉरी, ताई को कुक को हमेशा परेशानी रहती है. इज ऑलवेज इज नॉट एबल टू ज्वाइन द क्लास. व्हेनेवर आई विल स्टार्ट द क्लास इन बिटवीन शी विल आस्क मी, सर लिंक नहीं चल रहा है, लिंक नहीं मिल रहा है. Anyway, so the government exists at three levels: national level, state level, and local level. And one single person can be ruled by the laws of all these three government types of forms of government. ठीक है. Laws on now types of government. How we define about the types of government? We differentiate governments on the basis of who is making the decision, who is taking decision, who has the power to take decisions and enforce the laws. In monarchies, the king is supposed to have the supreme power. याद करो, राम राज्य में राम जी जो बोलेंगे वही होगा. वनवास जाना है तो वनवास जाना है, युद्ध पे चलना है तो युद्ध पे चलना है. And you will read about kings and queens. They, yeah, it's like Britain, Bhavya. So, but there are a lot of other ambiguities. We will talk about those in detail. It's Britain is not completely monarchy, but yeah. So, and one form of government is monarchy, where the king will take all the decision and he will run the government, or king can have a small group of people to discuss the matters. Power finally will remain in one single person. Another form that we know and are very much aware about is the democracy. In democracy, people, it is the people who give the power to the government. People elect the government. Government is working because people are supporting the government. We will read in detail about democracy. Don't worry. दिखाया था मैंने, पूरा डेमोक्रेसी ही पढ़ना है 3-4 चैप्टर में. Now, democratic governments. You see, democracy can be of many types. One division that we make into basic division that make into democracy is direct democracies and representative democracies. We'll read about this in detail in the higher classes, but I'm just giving you a hint. So, in the system that we work, the system in which India works is, we are saying that in democracy, people should have the power, right? In democracy, people should have the power. The citizen of the country should have the power. But think about India with a population of 1.35 lakh, 1.3 billion. if we started asking everyone to make the decision कि अभी इस बार बजट में कितना पैसा रेलवे को दिया जाए, and we ask this to everyone, और किसान बिल पास करना है या नहीं करना है, if we start asking such question to all the 1.3 billion people, we will never reach up to the conclusion that what should be done. So instead of taking vote from every person directly on every issue, we elect representatives. क्या करते हैं? These people will elect their representatives. So the MP, MLA, and even your mukhia or sarpanch, whatever you are electing, village headman, they becomes your representative. They are the representative of the people. Now, till their term lasts, so अगर 5 साल के बना तो 5 साल के लिए, their opinion is the opinion of people. ऐसा माना जाना चाहिए. That's how representative democracies work. People do not participate directly, but choose their representatives through an election process. In direct democracies, let's think about Greece, Athens of the ancient time. There people used to take direct decisions. So एक meeting होगा, वहां पे everybody will be given a stone, and they have to put their stone into one of the two pots, yes and no. जिसमें ज्यादा होगा that will win. That person, that side will win. So that was a kind of direct democracy, but that is not followed anymore. It is not in India. Then in a democracy, we want maximum people to participate. In our country, we have this system of, this term you will hear again and again, universal adult franchise. This universal adult franchise means this all the adults will have right to vote universally. All adults in a country are allowed to vote. Male, female, everyone is allowed to vote. Universal adult franchise. Now, initially, this is very surprising, and most of the time people get shocked to know this. Voting rights today, as we see that, okay, 18 plus ho gaye and everybody gets the voting right. This was not always so. Even in one of the developed countries like US and UK, US का जब development हुआ है, you will read, and even in UK, the voting rights were just limited to the capitalist class, the rich. Poor laborer workers were not allowed. Pushpam Kumar Soni, you have any question? I think that was my mistake. So, there also the riches, only the rich people have the right to vote. Slowly, they expanded that voting right, and white workers got voting right. Even at that time, blacks didn't have the voting rights. It took a long fight for the blacks to get voting right. Even at certain point, women didn't have the voting rights, and women had to fight a lot to get their voting rights. And there is a whole history behind the struggle for votes for women. It's a very interesting, when the first World War happened, what happened that all the men went on war. So most of the men went on the war, and the responsibility to run the factories, manage different kind of works, fall upon the shoulders of women. And they started running all these things, and they started breaking the stereotypes. Okay, women cannot work in the factories, women cannot do calculations, women cannot drive. So all these stereotypes were broken during the First World War. Now, when the war ended, women has realized their capabilities, and they prove that they are capable of making the decisions. Now, after that, the demand of suffragettes, the demand to right to vote gained much more strength. And finally, America gave voting rights in 1920, and UK gave voting rights to women in 1928. In the you will read about Periyar. Those who have read history, they will remember him. Those from the Tamil Nadu, they must have read the name. So there was this party in India called Justice Party, and they were the first to give voting rights to women in India, even before America did. Or at that point similarly, एक बार check करना पड़ेगा कि it was actually before them or before after us. You can check about the Justice Party and right to vote for women. Now, here is Mahatma Gandhi. So, for factual question, you can know Young India was written by Gandhiji. He saw this practice and he said, ki, even in India, there was a very slow process of getting voting rights. Even at the time, पहले तो most of you will not be aware that there were votings even before 1947. It was not that elections started after 1947. Even before we got our independence, there were elections and ministers were elected and all. So before 1947, these elections that were happening, they have very narrow base. इसमें पूरा ऐसा restriction रहता था कि person has to be literate. They have be at least this much amount of land and so many other restrictions. It was not only कि 18 plus सब vote कर सकते हैं, ऐसा नहीं था. You should be educated, you should have land and all. And at one point, all of you might be very much agree with this idea कि अनपढ़ लोगों को वोट करने देंगे तो how can they choose? They will end up choosing unpoor people. The illiterates will end up choosing illiterates, right? Yeah, study with me. That's what I was saying. In India, elections were happening even before all these, even before our independence. We kind of have this perception. We got our independence on that day and suddenly we got our rights. But aisa nahi tha. Indians were enjoying various degrees of freedom, especially political freedoms. They were holding elections, they were forming parties, there were MPs, MLAs, and all, even at that time. So don't worry. When we'll cover history, we'll discuss that in great detail. What do you guys think? Huh? Should the illiterate people be given the right to vote? Or should we have at least some educational qualification? 10वीं पास तो होना चाहिए. नहीं. Either all of you are too confused or now you don't want to participate into this. I've got two answers till now. Above 18 is okay. What about educational qualification? Yes, Swati is saying there should be educational qualification. We have to teach illiterate little bit. Okay. Devendra is saying at least 10th class to hona chahiye. Ankita is saying must be aware. Sanya, no, it's okay. They can also vote. Above 18, okay. Sir, I think educational qualification is important. Bhabya is saying educational qualification is important. Puneet is saying pass UPSC first, then get voting right. Good one. It should be educational qualification. Okay. So a mixed, somebody is saying ki, all of you have different ideas. Now hear Gandhiji on this. And I think nobody could have a better idea. Gandhi is saying, read this. I cannot possibly bear the idea that a man who has got the wealth should have the vote, and the man who has got the character but no wealth or literacy should have no vote. I think if a man is honest, a character means what? If a man is honest, hardworking, dedicated, and he have the passion to do something for the country, for the people, a human, a true human. क्योंकि मैं तो इस ऐसा सोच भी नहीं सकता, सपने भी नहीं सोच सकता. I cannot possibly bear this idea that a wealthy man without character can vote, and an unwealthy, uneducated man with character cannot have the right to vote. A man who walks honestly by the street of his bro, day in and day out, should not have the vote for the crime of being a poor man. दिन रात मेहनत की ईमानदारी से, and he should not have the right to vote just because he's poor. I think I cannot even think of such an idea. Okay, so that's chapter number 3 concluded with a good debate. You can form your own ideas upon that right now. Now, coming to chapter 4, key elements of a democratic government. We read about different forms of government, democracy and monarchy. Now we are reading about what makes a democracy democracy. What are the key elements of democracy? उज्जवल is saying कि पढ़ लिख कर कौन सा सही वोट करते हैं. Yeah, so now we will see at different look at the different countries, how democracies are working there and what we are doing in our country. You know about South Africa, and you probably have heard the system of apartheid. So apartheid, it's a very good definition. You should have this in your note. Apartheid means separation on the basis of race. What apartheid means? Apartheid means separation on the basis of race. In South Africa, people were divided into white, black, Indian, and colored races. And the people of these races could not intermingle. They were not allowed to mingle with each other. And even the common facilities like drinking water facilities, wells, libraries, schools, they were segregated. Even the beaches were made like these beaches were not allowed to. So white beach, black beach, that were reserved. This is called apartheid, separation on the basis of race. Now, in Africa especially, non-whites were not allowed to vote. The best land in the country was reserved for the white people, and non-whites had to live on the worst available land. Okay? Blacks were not considered as equal to the whites. But a protest started. Protest was started by Hector Peterson and his friends. They said that they should be educated in the Zulu language, which was their own language, instead of the language of the foreigners. Against that protest, police fired and Hector Peterson was killed. Now, this story you can use in your essays if you have the ability to reproduce this. So Hector Peterson was killed. Against that, a protest broke out. So this is happening in 1976. No, India आजाद हो चुका है. We had our constitution, and still at the same time in Africa, blacks were not allowed to go to the white beaches. Blacks were not allowed to go to the white restaurants. Blacks were not allowed to walk on the footpath on the streets which are reserved for whites. We'll see the kind of discrimination that was there. So after that, a party was formed, African National Congress. It started a campaign, and all of you have heard about Nelson Mandela. He fought for against the apartheid system, and finally, after he was like in jail for I think 28 years or something, and he finally succeeded, and Africa became a democratic country in which the people of all races are living equally. Now, about Africa, we will be referring to Africa again and again throughout in the higher chapters also. We will be reading about African constitution, how they make their constitution, what are the problems in their constitution, what are the solution. Recently, I don't know how many of you follow the world news, but for me, it's like a hobby to follow the वर्ल्ड डेवलपमेंट्स ऑल अराउंड द कंट्री. मुझे किसी भी कंट्री के बारे में पूछो क्या चल रहा है उनके इंटरनल अफेयर्स में, आई विल probably tell you about a great deal about that. Although nowadays I'm finding a little less time, but that if you have heard about what's happening in Africa, by the way, किसी को idea है? Anybody? What's happening in Africa? South Africa? न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ना जरूरी है. Gupta brothers and the issue related to that, Pratik, right? Anything more you can tell about? Very good. Finally, good to see someone who is aware about the issues. Chinese loan trap is not that much relevant there, but ठीक है. That's about whole of the Africa. Water shortage in South Africa also good. One issue is there, that too. Sudan, South Sudan. I'm talking about South Africa as a nation, I'm not talking about the Africa as a whole. So अभी क्या हुआ? If you will be following the news, somebody gave a clue. I thought he will build upon that. So इससे पहले जो अफ्रीका का प्रेसिडेंट था, he was so there in Africa we have Gupta brothers, like हमारे अंबानी अडानी है इस तरह के, they are like very big businessmen there. So they colluded with their president Jacob Zuma, if I'm not wrong, and they did a lot of corruption. मतलब पूरा दिल खोल के he opened the government's office for them, and they opened their purse for president's wife, and together they looted Africa. That's the allegation, and even the court has found most of them as true. Now recently, President Zuma, when he was asked by the court to surrender or at least come and be present in the court, he didn't appear till the very last, and on the day when he was to be arrested, he appeared in the court and he surrendered. After his surrender, a protest broke out through Africa and people looted. उस समय का picture देखोगे, it was a worst loot that happened in US during पिछले साल जो यूएस में हुआ उससे भी खतरनाक लूट यहाँ पे हुआ. मॉल लोग साफ करके चले गए, एकदम कंप्लीट अनार्की. especially in the provinces where the president has his supporters. Now, there are many explanations to that, why this happened. One of the reasons was that although Africa is now free from apartheid and they have written a very good constitution in which both blacks and whites are living peacefully, बट इन्होंने एक बहुत बड़ी गड़बड़ कर दी है इनके कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में. In order to live peacefully, I'm not going to tell you that in this class, क्योंकि आगे फिर अफ्रीका के बारे में डिस्कस करना है. When we're discussing about Indian constitution, I will tell you what mistake they have done and why this fighting is happening because of one single mistake in South African constitution. But be a little bit aware about the world affairs. Read the newspaper. So let's now try to understand what a democratic government actually means. First criteria for a democratic government is participation. People should participate in electing the government. Okay? They should be choosing their representatives. But elections are not the only way to participate. Okay? Elections are not the only way to participate in the government. There are many other ways to participate. People participate by taking an interest in the working of the government and by criticizing it when required. Okay? So there is a tendency in our country, and this is a tendency globally and has been a tendency of all the governments. I'm not particularly criticizing this government, that governments try to portray that the criticism of the government is the criticism of the country. If I'm saying BJP is wrong, then I'm saying India is wrong. But ऐसा नहीं होता है, no? By one way of participating into the government is to criticize something which is not happening right. You took interest into the working of the government and criticize in a way that you think is a reformative way. And because of this criticism and all, government had to change its decision because it is responsible to the people. We'll read about these in great detail about पूरा 10th में एक चैप्टर ही पढ़ना है about pressure groups, interest groups. We'll read about how right and wrong farmers protest is. So taking interest in the government also means having dharnas, rallies, strikes, signature campaigns, etc. Doing this doesn't mean you are anti-government or anti-India. It's actually a way to participate into the democracy. Now, recently, Supreme Court has given a judgment that the farmers who are protesting in Delhi, they should not disturb the traffic. Now, there is a lot of discussion around this. Is it a good decision or a bad decision? You can have your own opinion. You should go and read. You should think from the both perspectives. Is it okay or not? Some other time I will give my own opinion too. But one thing is very important. Sakshi hai class mein? Sakshi from the previous batch, not there is a Sakshi, but I think she's the new one. So Sakshi's father is participating into this farmers. She's from Haryana and her father and family is involved into this. I was talking to her once and to ask why this protest is happening. And she didn't have a answer, proper answer. Now, From now on, when you have started UPSC preparation, you should be very much conscious about the society. Whatever is happening in your city, in the country, in your village, you should know. So when you see a protest happening, a rally going on, you should try to inquire that why that is happening. Unfortunately, your teacher in class 6 he didn't teach you this. ये हैबिट अगर क्लास 6 में डेवलप कर ली होती तो आज इतना मेहनत नहीं करना पड़ता. बट अभी से इफ यू विल यू डू नॉट नेग्लेक्ट दोज थिंग्स. Try to know about why people are protesting. You might not be interested or interested. That's a very different thing. But every protest rally you should be knowing about. Another function of the government is to resolve the conflict. Now, in democracy, because we have so much diversity of religion, culture, economic backgrounds, and all, conflicts are very common. And government is there to resolve these conflicts. So Indian Constitution, by drawing some laws, it's draw some basic laws जो सबको follow करना है. We saw the conflicts during we see conflicts during religious processions. आजकल बहुत common हो गया है. Hindus entering into the Muslim areas, Muslim entering into the Hindu areas, और उसके बाद वहां जाके वो अल्लाह अकबर बजाएंगे, जय श्री राम बजाएंगे. क्या ये गाना बजता है, भूल गया मैं. कश्मीर से गुजरेगी गंगा, क्या क्या, लाहौर से गुजरेगी गंगा, कुछ भी चला रहे हैं लोग. Yes, I will take Swati Singh भैया take a session, newspaper कैसे read करें. We will talk about this. So religious processions को लेके काफी now this has become an everyday problem. Someday कहीं ऐसा न्यूज आता है कि कांवरिया पे पत्थर फेंका गया, कहीं ऐसा न्यूज आता है. मतलब we are going into very right direction if we want to destroy ourselves. Then there are river disputes. Recently, you must have read about the river dispute between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So government also play a role in resolving these conflicts. We'll discuss about this in great detail in newspapers or some other classes. जाके current affairs का issue है. Whenever you are coming across river disputes, you should be paying attention. Now what you can do is you can go and locate all these places. Krishna Sagar Dam किधर है, Kaveri water dispute क्या चल रहा है. You can read about Mettur Dam कहाँ है. Anybody from Karnataka? So one dam is very much in news, which was supposed to provide water to Bangalore city. Can you tell me the name? Yeah, Varun. Good, nice. Mekedatu Dam. Mekedatu या Mekedatu Dam is in news. Now the third function of the government is to provide equality and justice. Now, equality and justice are inseparable. This can be a topic of your essay. Without equality, there cannot be justice, and without justice, there cannot be equality. You can think more about it. Try to develop some ideas onto this. You see, in our country, that there's a difference between boys and girls, and government has made special provisions for the female, and that has been done to provide justice and bring equality to the women. So society does not value the girl and the boy child equally, and this is unjust. To remove this injustice, हमारे अभी बहुत सारे एग्जाम्स में 50% रिजर्वेशन फॉर वुमेन, 33% रिजर्वेशन फॉर वुमेन. These are done to promote justice. The injustice that is being faced by the girl, government is trying to remove that to bring equality and justice. Now, chapter number 5. Local government and administration. All of you must have heard about Gram Sabha, or many of you, I think, may not have. Those who belong to. Okay, Karthik is giving us a breakdown. Meke means goat and Datu means cross. So it has something to do with goat crossing. आज के न्यूज़पेपर में आया, हिंदी के न्यूज़पेपर में, that the most corrupt people in the government machinery are the sarpanch. The most corrupt people in the government machinery are the sarpanch, means mukhia and panchayat secretary. Most corrupt, highest, वो टॉप कर गए सबसे ज्यादा. So panchayat president, also known as sarpanch. In your places, the name can be different. So हमारे यहाँ सरपंच नहीं बोलते हैं, बिहार में हम लोग मुखिया बोलते हैं. And so know about Gram Sabha. Gram Sabha is a meeting of all adults who live in the area covered by a panchayat. ठीक है, बहुत थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूजिंग है ये, so you should understand this clearly. Panchayat is a geographical area. So in a panchayat there can be many villages. ठीक है, 1, 2, 3 of varying size. There can be many villages, or there can be just one village too if the village is very big. This is panchayat. Panchayat is a geographical area. Now every panchayat will have a gram sabha. Like in our country India, we have a parliament, right? So gram sabha is basically a parliament for the panchayat. Now who is the member of this gram sabha? There's no, for being a member of the parliament, you need to do such, you need to win an election. But every adult citizen, so anybody who is 18 plus and whose name is in the voter list, by default becomes the member of this gram sabha. ठीक है. Now, each village panchayat is divided into wards called smaller areas, and there we elect ward members. ठीक है. Here we have a panchayat. Village is not a administrative unit. इस बात को समझ रहे हो? Village is not a administrative unit. Means government is not concerned about your village boundary. Village लोग ऐसा colloquially decide करते हैं कि मेरा village उस पेड़ तक है. My village is up to that river front. बीच में कोई घर बना लिया तो क्या करोगे? So village is a kind of social construct, not government's idea. Government deals with panchayat and ward. So every panchayat will be divided into many smaller units. A ward can have different sizes, different areas. It can cover more than one village. It can cover one village, but one panchayat will have several wards, and each ward there will be one ward member who will be called पंच. ठीक है. अभी हमारे यहाँ इलेक्शन होने वाला है, तो गांव से रोज फोन आता है. ये पंचायत का इलेक्शन और ज्यादा खतरनाक होता है। अब इसे किसी हैं कि हमारे यहाँ प्रधान बोलते हैं। स्वाति, आई होप यू गॉट द आइडिया कि वार्ड क्या होता है। ग्राम पंचायत हैज a secretary who is also the secretary of Gram Sabha. This panchayat secretary is appointed by government. He's not an elected person. इस तरह के क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं, ठीक है। द सेक्रेटरी इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर कॉलिंग द मीटिंग ऑफ ग्राम सभा। तो सिंपल एक क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, हु is responsible for calling the meeting of Gram Sabha. There can be 2, 3, 4, 5 options. Panchayat, Mukhya, Sarpanch, President. But Gram Sabha meeting is called by a non-elected member who is known as Panchayat Secretary. तो बिहार में कुछ दिनों पहले एक एग्जाम हुआ था. No, when I was in 2014, when I was in the first year of my college. Then when I first thought of now कि I have to prepare for UPSC, so exam was declared in Bihar. उसको पंचायत सेक्रेटरी का एग्जाम था, SSSC का कोई एग्जाम था in 2014. Without any reason I filled that form. ठीक है, देखते हैं क्या होगा, मन करेगा तो जाकर दे देंगे, जस्ट टू चेक, एग्जाम देना चाहिए. So when the first time that exam was conducted, I was least interested into giving that exam because by the time the exam was decided, I was in this full mode of preparing for UPSC. I didn't wanted even a single day of distraction. So my UPSC, I didn't went to go the exam, didn't went to give the exam. So this was in 14 में form fill up हुआ था, and the first exam was held somewhere in 2016 or so. पंचायत सेक्रेटरी का एग्जाम. Then I passed my college in so I passed my college. Then I got to know that okay, that exam which was held in 2015 or 16, that was cancelled and there will be re-exam. So I got a fresh admit card. बीच में एक बार और हुआ. So for the third time I had given my mains and I was like completely free. अब कोई काम नहीं है. And then the exam was conducted after so many years. 5 साल के बाद और फिर जाके मैंने एग्जाम दिया था, कि मेरे लिए इंतजार कर रहे थे क्या कि मैं फ्री हो जाऊं तो एग्जाम कंडक्ट करवाओगे. Funny the way our employment system works, and funny in the way that we do not ask questions to the government. There is a country called Morocco. In Morocco, 25% seats, I'm not exactly accurate, it can be 10% or 25%, but 25%, a certain number of seats are to be filled in the parliament, to be filled by the youths less than 40 years of age. फिक्स है, उतना सीट तो यूथ्स के लिए रिजर्व है. इन आवर कंट्री यूथ्स के लिए कोई सोचने वाला नहीं है. सो बाय द टाइम यू बिकम एमपी, एम्प्लॉयमेंट डजंट मैटर फॉर यू. और लाइक कि मैंने से चोरी से मैं एमपी बन गया, सब बन सकते हैं. इट्स ऑल अबाउट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. स्वरोजगार चाहिए. So in my belief, we need such a change in our country too. A certain number of seats should be fixed for the youth in the parliament and the state assemblies. Anyway, थोड़ा विषय से विषयांतर होते हैं. सो पंचायत से मेनी ऑफ यू आर आस्किंग मेनी क्वेश्चंस कि ग्राम सेवक. So what I was saying, हाँ, देखो पूरा पंचायत का सिस्टम समझ लो. मेनी ऑफ यू आर कंफ्यूज एट दिस प्लेस एंड एक्चुअली पंचायती राज सिस्टम इज वेरी कंफ्यूजिंग. First thing I will request you all to go and take an idea about how the panchayat system works at your own place, because first problem is that the panchayat system varies a lot across the country. So there is not no uniformity. The same person can be called by the different name in your place. It might happen that we will read about that. So यहाँ पे states को काफी power दिया गया है. Actually, the third tier of the government, local governments are organized by or controlled by the state. So each state has different amount of power, and each state has given different amount of power to their local governments. So in Bihar, Jharkhand, panchayat elections matters a lot because in our here panchayats have a lot of power. So Mukhia can become a crorepati in a 5-year term. He has so much power. But you go to West Bengal, and whatever I have seen, what's my belief, and those from West Bengal can ascertain this again. Their panchayat sarpanch doesn't matter that much. हाँ आप हो गए ठीक है वार्ड मेंबर ये वो, that doesn't matter that much. Do not have actual power. The power is still enjoyed by the clubs that I was telling you about, in which we were. The power is enjoyed by the clubs. Power is enjoyed by the party office. मुखिया का बहुत ज्यादा नहीं चलता. हाँ वार्ड मेंबर्स वहां भी हैं शहरों में, उनको काफी पावर है, बट स्टिल दैट पावर कम्स फ्रॉम कि वो पार्टी का आदमी है. तो सो different states give different amount of power to the. So you should go and inquire about your own place, your own state. So what is the system there? I'm coming to that. All the questions will be answered. So yeah. So how the panchayat is working? Let's see. First, there is two system. When we talk about this third tier of the government, there is one system in village areas and other system in urban areas. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे जो तुम पंचायत की बात करते हो, पंचायत इज अ ब्रॉड टर्म फॉर बोथ. पंचायत इज अ ब्रॉड टर्म फॉर, और पंचायती राज सिस्टम, पंचायती राज इंस्टीट्यूशन इज अ ब्रॉड टर्म फॉर बोथ. नाउ in village areas, at the lowest level we have panchayats. Panchayat will have a sarpanch, mukhya, matlab if I give you the English word, you can find the translation which is in your own language. So this will be the panchayat president, also called as sarpanch, pradhan, etc. He will be elected. He or she will be elected. He will be helped by panchayat secretary. This panchayat secretary वो है जिसका एग्जाम मैं 6 साल तक देता रहा. So he is appointed by the government. Sorry, he is appointed by the government. Then a panchayat is divided into wards. So each ward will have a ward member. He will also be elected. इसको बोलते हैं हमारे यहाँ पंच. We have to find what is the name of a ward member in your region. ठीक है. We'll see about urban areas in a while. यहाँ पे तुम जो देखते हो उसके बारे में बात करते हो. Now in village areas, you will have Gram Sabha. So the idea is that all the decisions in the village should be taken by this Gram Sabha. Like all the major decision in a country is taken by the parliament. Similarly, all the decisions should be taken in Gram Sabha. But this doesn't happen actually in practice. Gram Sabha chalta nahi hai. Gram Sabha, but in question can be asked. So Gram Sabha consists of all the people in that village or in that panchayat who are 18 plus and have their name in voter list. So let's suppose in village there is a plan to, this is a village and this there is a plan to build a road. Now, what should be the length of the road, or where the road should be built, or where we should build street lights. All these decisions are actually, in fact, as per theory, are not to be taken by the mukhya or the sarpanch or the pradhan. The actual process is that mukhya will propose in the meeting of Gram Sabha that, okay, we have a fund of 1 crore rupees and we have to install solar lights. So everybody suggests ki what we should do with this, where we should install the solar lights, when we should install the solar lights. And the Gram Sabha will vote. And then only the solar lights can be installed. This is the actual theoretical way. लेकिन actually में क्या होता है? Now, how these pradhans are able to circumvent this law? Mukhyas, if you will go and inquire in your village areas, this happens in Bihar. I don't know about other places, how the system works and what kind of trick they use. But what they will do is, on 15th August and on 26 January, Republic Day and Independence Day, they will host this. They will host a small ceremony. People will come. This will be called a Gram Sabha. लोगों को पता नहीं है कि वो मिठाई खाने जा रहे हैं, ग्राम सभा में जा रहे हैं. On that day, they will see कि okay, everybody sign on this paper. People will sign कि हाँ ठीक है, जिनको साइन करना है कर दिया. हो गया वो ग्राम सभा का मीटिंग. जो उसको बिल पास करना है, मुखिया will pass. That's how Gram Sabha is done. So at least 2 Gram Sabhas they have to hold, and they take the opportunity of these 2 events to hold 2 Gram Sabhas in a year. So many are saying कि same is here. Shivaji, Shinde, Puneet. So this happens in actuality. तो ये ग्राम सभा actually में work करता नहीं है. So this is the system, ठीक है? So basically, the theoretical idea is कि Gram Sabha prevents the panchayat from doing wrong things. लेकिन मीटिंग ही नहीं होता है तो मुखिया can do whatever he want to do. Now, the people like you who are aware about the system, you can probably do something. Now, Gram Panchayat. Gram Panchayat saying कि meets regularly. एक मिनट नीचे आते हैं. Now, from where does the money come from Gram Panchayats? Source of funding for Gram Panchayat is collection of taxes on house and marketplaces. If your mukhya want or if your sarpanch wants, he can collect tax, but this doesn't happen. बिकॉज इफ मुखिया और सरपंच विल स्टार्ट कलेक्टिंग टैक्स, उसको लोग अगले इलेक्शन में उसका बोरिया बिस्तर बांध के वापस भेज देंगे. सो दिस डजंट हैपन. गवर्नमेंट, इवन मुखिया कैन हैव ले अ टैक्स ऑन hen. कोई मुर्गी भी पाल रहा है ना, तो उसके लिए भी मुखिया कैन इम्पोज और सरपंच कैन इम्पोज अ टैक्स. Then they got their money from the government schemes from various departments through Janpad and Jila Panchayats. We will talk about Jila Panchayats in a while. They also get money from the from donations for community works. Now there are three levels of panchayat. In rural areas, Gram Panchayat is the first tier or the level of democratic government. And panchayats and panch are responsible for the gram sabha. इस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, ठीक है. ग्राम पंचायत इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल और आंसरेबल टू ग्राम सभा. ये बात समझ में आ रही है तुम लोग को? थ्योरेटिकली दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू ग्राम सभा, बट प्रैक्टिकली दे आर नॉट. So what are these three divisions? At first level you have gram panchayat and gram sabha. On the second level, गांव से बाहर निकले तो at the block level you have जनपद पंचायत और पंचायत समिति. So at first you have gram panchayat. Many gram panchayats will make what? पंचायत समिति और जनपद पंचायत. Then many panchayat samitis will form one district panchayat or jila parishad. Jila parishad is a very famous term. So how does it work? ध्यान से एक बार देखो. The terms are very confusing. First thing to understand is we are still talking about the rural areas. We are not talking about urban areas. So when we think of Jila Parishad, District Panchayat, we think, okay, District Panchayat should include everything, urban and rural and all, but nahi. ठीक है? Do not go into that. Do not keep that confusion. So the smallest unit is Panchayat or Gram Panchayat. Many Gram Panchayats will form one Panchayat Samiti, and many Panchayat Samitis will create one Jila Parishad. ठीक है? Now the names again can vary from state to state, so you should go and check what it's called in your state. Some are saying same, some of you have different names, so go and check once more. ठीक है? Now Jila Parishad actually makes development plans at the district level. So at the district level, Jila Parishad will decide what money should go to which Panchayat Samiti. Then the Panchayat Samitis will decide how much money they need to give to each Gram Panchayats. ठीक है? As I said, each state has their own laws regarding this, and there are many variations. And this is very confusing. तुम लोग मतलब बाद में मेरा बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया करोगे, I know, because when I literally have read Panchayat Samiti so many times. I've discussed with many of my friends who are like already at good places. पंचायत सिस्टम नहीं समझ में आता किसी को. It has been made so complicated, and there is so much difference between why what we see at the ground and what we read in the books. लगता है चल क्या रहा है दुनिया में. सो यू विल थैंक मी लेटर जब तुम और डीपली स्टडी करना शुरू करोगे. एंड यू व्हेन यू विल फाइंड योर फ्रेंड्स कंफ्यूज अबाउट ऑल दिस, पढ़ने के बाद 10 जगह पढ़ने के बाद भी. So the the sixth chapter, rural administration. There are more than 6 lakhs panchayat in India. 6 lakhs villages in India. How many panchayats are in India? Anybody? How many panchayats do we have? थक गए या पढ़ने की स्थिति में हो अभी भी? Komal is saying, sir, will you teach 6 chapter 2? चलो ठीक है. Many of you are exhausted now. So let's take a pause here. Any questions? So the students from 4th, 5th, 6th batch, if you want to go, you can go. I would like the students of 7th batch to stay a little longer so that we can deal about how to prepare and all. There are many aspects, many questions that you might have. So we can discuss that. Do not leave. 7th batch students, do not leave yet. I'm not going to teach, but the next few minutes is going to be very important for you. Okay, so many of you have done the Google search and come up with the number 6614 block panchayat and 253163 gram panchayat. Gitanjali, bye. Now I'm opening the comment box to all so that जो कुछ कहना चाहते हो. How was the class? कैसा लगा? टीचर्स डे के नाम पे मैंने इज्जत रख लिया अपने टीचर होने की या नहीं? South Indians, friends, I hope you are not facing any issue with the language and all. Punita is facing a little bit. Okay. चलो ठीक है. So there are many issues about how to prepare notes, what to read, what not to read, how to plan your preparation. Snail, now you can leave this session. Time कम है, 2020 के लिए prepare कर रही हो, you focus there. पहले तो देखो, with me, this instruction जो जानते हैं मुझे पहले से जानते हैं, you need to be very patient, very patient. If you will try to push me and rush me कि सर ये कर दो वो कर दो, ग्रुप में ऐड करो, नोट्स डाल दो, it's very difficult for me to do. I myself is a very punctual, very responsible person, and when I teach, my old students can I be a testimonial for this. पढ़ाता हूँ तो सिर्फ इसलिए नहीं पढ़ाता हूँ कि I have to teach a book and just go through it. So when I am teaching, I am responsible for your exam, for your results. So देखो अभी अभी I told you कि do not rush me for posting and linking and joining and somebody saying sir send UPSC syllabus. I told ना I know I have to post when, where, how I will post. I know कि what is important for you at this point of time, what is, what can wait and what cannot wait. Do not push, do not rush me. मुझे पता है 6 साल से मैं यही कर रहा हूँ. Yeah, have a little faith on me. You are very new, many of you are very new to the class. कोई पुराना है तो भाई बता दो एक बार इन लोगों को कि कैसा. अच्छा, अक्षय want to say something. So
Yes, I want to say that, sir, is any kind of myth is actually a stereotype thing. Any kind of myth.
अभी तुम क्लास का बात मत करो, अभी मैं दूसरे मूड में हूँ.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
हाँ, डाउट पूछना कल की क्लास में. अब तालहा want to say anything?
सर यही बोलना चाहते हैं कि हम लोग को कुछ बोलना नहीं पड़ेगा. जो भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं उन लोग को कोई भी चीज के लिए बोलना नहीं पड़ेगा. आप जितने अमाउंट का, आप जितना फैसिलिटी आप लिख रहे हो उस पे, उससे कहीं ज्यादा हम लोग को मिल रहा है. तो आगे आने वाले बैचों को भी, बैच के बच्चों को भी मिलेगा ये सेम चीज.
थैंक यू ताला फॉर गिविंग दिस लाइक अश्योरेंस, बिकॉज कई लोग बहुत घबरा जाते हैं. पैसा दे दिया, कहाँ गया कहाँ गया. आई थिंक द मनी दैट यू हैव पेड नाउ, उसके बराबर नॉलेज तुमको एक क्लास में मिल गया है. That one class people will take to talk about panchayati raj and democracy and all. So don't worry about it, and it's not about money. I'm not saying कि मैं बहुत कम ले रहा हूँ. तो मैंने 1 रुपया भी दिया है तो I am now responsible to pay you back whatever I have promised. But do not rush the things. नहीं group में join हुए, now your next class is on Saturday. You have a lot of time. 10 बार मैसेज करोगे उससे कुछ होगा नहीं. मैं अल्टीमेटली इरिटेट होके ब्लॉक कर दूंगा या कुछ कर दूंगा. रेयरली करता हूँ लेकिन क्या करूंगा फिर. About optionals, we are going to take a class. I'm announcing for the all of you, new and old, how to take optional. We are going to do tomorrow at 12 p.m. Those who can join must join. At 12 p.m. I will take a class about how to choose optionals. I will share the link with all of you. Any doubt about optionals will be cleared there. Nishi saying, yes, I got this message today from one of my old student, and he said कि like sometimes I become emotional. He said कि सर 4 महीने कैसे बीत गए पता नहीं चला. 4 months the course is over and like खत्म हो गया 4 महीने. You were like ended the syllabus, but you will not feel, and that's the aim. In the next session we will resume from where I have ended. Of course ये क्या कुछ पूछने वाली बात है. Ayan is asking something. I have missed your question. हाँ वो वही पूछ रहे हो. ठीक है सर. हाउ टू मेक न्यूज़पेपर्स. न्यूज़पेपर्स के लिए आई टुक अ स्पेशल बैच. दिस इज काइंड ऑफ गोइंग नाउ इनटू द अनदर डायरेक्शन, बट आई टुक अ स्पेशल क्लास फॉर न्यूज़पेपर. That newspaper batch runs in the evening from 6 to 7. That's a separately paid class. ठीक है. 6 to 7 or 7:30 every day from Monday to Friday. But even if you are not going to join that, I will take a class on how to read and how to utilize newspaper. It's not a very small issue कि एक बार में बता दूं. It takes a lot of time. Those who want to join, I hope all of you have my number. You can contact me on my number. Price वो थोड़ा सा महंगा है. इट्स नॉट दैट चीप लाइक द एनसीईआरटी कोर्स. It's 1,000 per month. So those who can, who should, those who cannot, nothing can be done. So 8368481944 नंबर सबके पास होगा. You can contact me if you want to join. Many of you are asking about notes. Okay, let's discuss about notes. Let's discuss about notes. Why do we make notes? Anybody answer me? Why do we make notes? Okay, so all of you are like for remembering, recalling, systematic approach, and so many other things. See, how I think what I think about notes is first consolidation of your knowledge. Means you will be reading from many sources. So you are reading NCRTs, you will then read Lakshmikant. At least 2 books you are reading. Other than that, you will be reading current affairs. So your notes should be such that all these 3 are finally summed up at one place. Even when you are reading NCRTs, you will be reading once class 6, then I said same thing will be repeated in class 11th in a greater detail. So the idea of having note is that you should have one consolidated place where you can go and read one particular topic in detail. ऐसा नहीं कि एक बार ये वाली कॉपी खोले, दूसरी बार वो वाली, तीसरी बार वो वाली. ठीक है. The first task is consolidation. The second task of notes making is concising. When you make everything at a place, this will be very detailed. So your first notes should be very detailed. Many a times students come to me and say, "Sir, लग रहा है कि book ही छाप रहे हैं." Even my own sister, when I asked her to make notes, she started making notes from Spectrum. Now everybody says do not make from Spectrum in itself is a notes. I asked her to make notes from Spectrum. Initially she was like कि भैया सब मना करते हैं, आप मेरे से नोट्स बनवा रहे हैं स्पेक्ट्रम का. बनाओ, have some faith. So she was also in this batch. Now she has graduated from this batch. कि भैया नोट्स बनवा रहे हैं. ठीक है, she made the note. After a few days, without even मैंने पूछा भी नहीं क्या चला है, she herself told कि भैया याद हो रही चीजें. It's very effective. Now I can remember the things. पहले पढ़ रही थी, बस पढ़ा 2 बार उड़ गया सब, लिख लिया तो याद हो गया. Although it's like copying the book itself, but the retention is improving. ठीक है. So first time when you are making the note, do not bother about anything. किसी से तुमको पूछना ही नहीं है कि नोट्स कैसे बनाते हैं. जो समझ में आ रहा है लिख दो, जितना लिख सकते हो लिख दो, जहां जहां से ढूंढ के लिख सकते हो सब लिख दो. Consolidation happens in the second phase. In the second phase, you will be able to remember or recall 50% of the things, and you just need to make your note for the next 50%. तो 50% कट डाउन हो जाएगा नेक्स्ट नोट मेकिंग में, नेक्स्ट रीडिंग में, not in the first reading. And the third time you have to make the note again, and the third time a 50-page notes will shrink down into the 5-page notes, which you will be revising on the day of your mains exam. But this will happen once you have cleared the prelims. ठीक है. इससे बढ़िया सिस्टम आई कैन नॉट टेल यू. ठीक है. तो अभी तुमको किसी से पूछना नहीं है मैं टॉप कर गया, मेरे पास अलादीन का चिराग नहीं था, घिस दिया और नोट्स बहुत परफेक्ट बनने लगे. Note making is an art. You have to develop your own style. You have seen notes of 10 toppers, all of have made notes differently. Someone prefer digital, somebody prefer on page, somebody is making it in a copy, somebody is making in a spiral copy, somebody is using just one color pen, somebody is using 10 types of pen. So stop asking. This is the one question that irritates me a lot, and please stop asking now कि सर notes कैसे बनाए. बनाओ और सीखो. ठीक है, मेक द नोट्स एंड लर्न. ठीक है. हाउ टू रिमेम्बर करंट अफेयर्स, इज देयर एनी स्ट्रक्चर? देखो, किसी भी चीज को, अलग अलग चीज को याद करने का अलग अलग तरीका नहीं होता. देयर आर नो डिफरेंट वेज टू रिमेम्बर डिफरेंट थिंग्स. Memorizing is an art. You have to use various tools, techniques to remember things. But above all, one thing is very common, that you should have a good understanding of what you are trying to memorize for long term retention, and you should be constantly going through it. एक बार पढ़ के छोड़ दोगे सब कुछ भूल जाओगे, बार बार पढ़ना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. लक्ष्मीकांत नहीं पढ़ना है अभी, कम से कम फर्स्ट चैप्टर से नहीं पढ़ना है. इफ यू विल स्टार्ट रीडिंग लक्ष्मीकांत फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट चैप्टर, यू विल डिच द पॉलिटी, उसको गंगा में बहा के आ जाओगे. फर्स्ट चैप्टर इन लक्ष्मीकांत इज मोर अबाउट हिस्ट्री. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द सेकेंड थर्ड, जहां से करना है, फर्स्ट से मत करो. ठीक है. यू कैन रीड पंचायती राज इफ यू वांट. बोलो. ज्योग्राफी जब करेंगे तो कब, अभी रस मत करो. If you are not preparing for 2022, you do not need to rush. If you are preparing for 2022, ask me personally, I will guide. बोलो. खत्म क्वेश्चन. Can we start 2 subjects in a day? Oh, just I don't like that approach, but you can read 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. If it suits you, if you are able to concentrate and read. देखो, यूपीएससी मैं क्या समझता हूँ, 2 सब्जेक्ट तो तुमको ऐसे भी हो जाएंगे. थोड़ा सा तुम अगर आगे जाओगे तो 2 सब्जेक्ट 3 सब्जेक्ट पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा. एक तो तुम्हारा ऑप्शनल हो जाएगा. About timetable and how to evaluate our performance. अनुप्रिया, 100 days में सारे सब्जेक्ट्स कवर हो जाएंगे, चिंता मत करो. आई एम हियर, आई विल कवर ऑल द सब्जेक्ट्स, ऑल द 4 subjects that I've told, I will cover. निस्सी, एक दिन मेरी बहन एग्जाम देख रही सीडीएस का, और आके पूरा एकदम नर्वस ब्रेकडाउन. शी कॉल्ड मी एंड लाइक स्टार्टेड क्राइंग कि सर क्या हो गया, अब भैया क्या हो गया, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है मेरे से, सब भूल गए जो पढ़ के आए थे. I told her certain things and कि क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, about answer writing or reading. The next day she texted कि thank you भैया, you make everything so easy. तो प्रिपरेशन इजी है, बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है. कॉम्प्लिकेट करोगे तो फंस जाओगे. नोट्स मेकिंग इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ दिस जर्नी. 99% of the people who are capable to clear this exam, they fail just because they do not make notes. जो कैपेबल नहीं है वो तो नहीं है. Those who are not capable, they are not capable. But those who are capable, they fail just because this one problem, because they are not making notes. Devbrata, I'm asking, newspaper course takes how much time? Month time. The newspaper courses are ongoing. You can do it for 1 month, 2 month, 4 month, 5 month, a year. It's up to you. I suggest कि at least 3 महीने तो सबको करना चाहिए. It takes at least 3 months to cover all the basics. Sorry, Mohit, you can watch the recording because I am also a working professional. I took classes in the evening. कल तुम लोग इतना परेशान थे कि क्लास क्यों नहीं हुआ. कल मैंने कितनी क्लासेस लिए मालूम है तुम लोगों को? Yesterday I took a one class from 7:30 to 9, IR ka class. From 9 I was working for Vision. कॉपी वैल्यूएशन, मेंटरशिप वगैरह वगैरह बहुत सारे काम होते हैं. Then from 12 I started NCRT batch, so 12 to 2 and 2 to about 5, sorry 3 to 5, 1 घंटा का यहाँ ब्रेक लिया. Again from 6, no, again from 7, another session till 8:30, and from 8:30 many of you might have joined that session, so 8:30 to 9:30 or about 10. So this was my yesterday's schedule. अब तुम बोला कि तुम वर्किंग हो, टाइम टाइम निकालो, तो ऑन एन एवरेज डे, दिस इज ऑन सैटरडे, एंड अक्षय लिटरली केम टू सी मी इन एट 8:30 कि सर आप अभी भी पढ़ा रहे हैं, फ्रॉम वेयर यू आर गेटिंग दिस स्टैमिना. सो अक्षय हो क्लास में या लीव कर दिए? अच्छी. It's funny, right? So actually शाम में टाइम नहीं है. आई कुड हैव टेकन, बट एक्चुअली आई एम प्रोलॉन्गिंग इट फॉर सो लॉन्ग कि शाम में कर लेंगे, बट आई डोंट हैव टाइम इन द इवनिंग. आई टुक classes for newspaper, I took classes for personal mentorship, I took classes for optionals, so literally I don't have time. Yes, Babita, newspaper reading का मतलब ये है कि it will help you in improving your English. If you are reading newspaper and you're not improving your English, you are reading that in Hindi, then that is of no use. Jyoti Priya, for English, read newspapers, read aloud, go back to the basics, read grammar. I took the Hindu classes. Will you take tests to test to class में चलता ही रहता है. I will keep asking questions. About test, see what you should do. The best approach I am sharing with you. And this, those many of you have already joined some coaching institute and all. The one thing that you should do is go and do previous year UPSC questions. So by the time we end this session, your approach should be to do as many previous year questions as you can do. They are the best tests that you can give. कहीं और जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Now I am teaching you polity. So go as and when we will cover the topics. अभी तो नहीं, थोड़ा और cover हो जाए तो you can go and do previous year questions. Buy a book. Buy book for previous year questions. अक्षय क्यों टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हो? अब मुझे देखने से क्या फायदा है? जाओ काम करो कुछ. सुदीप तो भी है कि गया वो? अगर कुछ क्वेश्चन है तो पूछो, अदरवाइज पढ़ाई करो. या कोमल, बुक बाय सब्जेक्ट वाइज प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस. Bye, Akshay. So, which paper is good? Both are okay. You can read either Indian Express or The Hindu. Read either. No, there's no problem. I prefer The Hindu because its level of English is a bit superior. By reading newspapers, it develops your idea about comprehension, reading, and solving. It's limited. Indian Express is too much. So there are like 10, 20 editorials every day. It's very difficult कि क्या पढ़े नहीं पढ़े. The Hindu limited है उतने से काम चल जाता है and many times direct questions are asked too. Yes, you can find previous year questions on internet, but buy a book. I will suggest buy a book. Yeah, the Hindu is a little bit difficult to understand, and that's why I take special classes for the Hindu. No, it will not be boring, Namrata. I will share some links of how I teach. If you are interested, you can come and join. NCRT भी बहुत boring लगता होगा आज से पहले. Many of you might find NCRT very boring till date. I don't think कि आज के बाद NCRT boring लगेगा. अरे ताला क्या कर रहे हो उधर का? तुम भी अभी यहीं बैठे हो गया ना भाई? यू आर लाइक वेस्टिंग योर टाइम. आई एम नॉट टेलिंग एनीथिंग न्यू हियर. Varun, no sir. Those who do not have any question or they think they do not have any query or they're not learning from others query, they can leave. I'm not going to teach. I'm just doing this Q&A session. Yes, each and every recording will be available. Satya Priya, what's your question? I have missed. Recording the classes. Yeah, recording will be available. अरे लक्ष्मीकांत कुछ और है, स्पेक्ट्रम कुछ और है. लक्ष्मीकांत इज फॉर पॉलिटी, स्पेक्ट्रम इज फॉर हिस्ट्री, मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री. No, Sakshi, I told in the beginning I will not cover class 12 political science books. Alvin, I think we have talked previously, right? You are from the Kerala. बात तो की हमने. Meena, what's your question? I didn't skipped it. There are so many questions popping in. I cannot see what it was. Yes, you can, Meena. Which edition are good? What edition? Which by the read the latest edition of any book. Why will you read the old editions? Thank you, Allah. Atala, not Allah. Bye. Is Atlas a good book? तुम्हारी पिटाई करूंगा मैं. You do not have an idea कि what Atlas is. Atlas you need for geography, you have to buy it. That's a very essential part of your preparation. Yuti. By the way, what you are doing, you are asking such immature questions. I'm kind of worried. Are you in which class you are? What you are doing? So, spectrum or Vipanchandra spectrum. If you want to gain some more knowledge, read from Palasi to Partition by Shekhar Bandyopadhyay. Mohit, text me personally. We will discuss. Yeah, I take daily classes for the Hindu. Ujjwal. Athota Monica, text me. We will discuss the strategy. Param joined the newspaper class. You can start if you want. If you have enough time, you can start it, Lakshmikant. If you are preparing for 2022, then of course you have to start. There is no other option. 2023 वाले थोड़ा डिले करके स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं. How to make schedule? I took personal mentorship classes. There I prepare the schedule for the students. You can join personal mentorship batch for personal guidance, flexible schedules. Bhavya is saying, sir, before attending your class, NCRT seemed really boring because it was so confusing. Everything looked important. Had no idea what to read and what to leave. एक चैप्टर में ही इतना टाइम लग जाता था. Can't believe 4 chapters हो गए. Thank you, sir. Bye. Take care. Thank you, Bhavya. Thanks a lot. Which book? Snehal, which book? Yes, Surbi, again, the same thing you are doing. Same thing I am repeatedly saying. Do not ask for PDF भेज दीजिए, ये भेज दीजिए, वो भेज दीजिए. मैं भेज दूंगा, सब भेज दूंगा. मोहित, thank you. Babita, where I get PDF? PDF of what? PDF of this NCRT books. I will send that in the WhatsApp groups, and I will create a Telegram group. As I said, if you have missed the first class, go and read. I have explained everything. देखो, कुछ लोगों को बात एकदम नहीं समझ में आती है. मैं यही बात कह रहा हूँ. हाँ, हाँ जी, आई एम टेलिंग द सेम थिंग दैट आई विल ऐड. डोंट वरी. उज्जवल, हाँ, कल बात करते हैं ना सोशियो के बारे में. At 12 we will have a session. We will talk about all the optionals. Harshvardhan, text me personally. Yeah, welcome, Namrata, Babita. Bean, just follow Bina. Sorry, Bean bola. Bina, follow what I am teaching. Stay in the class for a week or two. You will get a clear idea how to prepare. स्नेहल, ऐसे पीसेस में क्वेश्चन भेजोगे तो तुम्हारा क्वेश्चन ऊपर उड़ के चला जाता है. वट एवर यू वॉन्ट टू आस्क, आस्क इन अ कंप्लीट, आस्क अ कंप्लीट क्वेश्चन. You asked, welcome. Thank you. Varun, welcome. Anand, thank you. Nishi, welcome, welcome. You can actually post whatever you felt about the class in the WhatsApp me about how you felt about the class. अमरनाथ, IFOS का कोई अलग से प्रिपरेशन नहीं करता. आई हैव नॉट सीन एनीबॉडी प्रिपेयरिंग स्पेशली फॉर IFOS. That's a part of this journey. If you are preparing for UPSC, IFOS goes along with that. You have to prepare for one more extra optional. That's the only difference. Yeah, Akriti, you are still here. You are the old student. हाँ, I have too much patience. बच्चों को इतना पढ़ाया है कि बहुत पेशेंस आ गया है. I don't get frustrated easily. That's difficult too. ठीक है फिर. All your questions are, like, nobody has any question now. ओके, अरे ये सब थोड़ा व्हाट्सएप पे भेज दो, एडवर्टीजमेंट कर दूंगा मैं तो पोस्ट डाल के, इतने अच्छी अच्छी बातें कर रहे हो तुम लोग। हाँ निस्सी, चलो ठीक है देन, आई एम एंडिंग दिस, and thank you for staying till the last. This kind of session happens every week, so this is one of my routine. After the class I stay for some time and I took all the questions, so don't worry. ठीक है, मैं ऐसा क्लास में पढ़ा के भागने वालों में से नहीं हूँ. I will teach everything, I will take all your questions, whatever doubts you have we will discuss. ठीक है, I'm never free. You have seen my schedule, I am never free. You text me, if I am free I will reply. If you'll wait for my time, me to get free, I'm never free. Most of the time, I try to reply usually very fast. ठीक है, Hanjia? If I have any question, ask me and I will reply. Okay, bye then. I'm ending this session. Okay. See you next week and revise and read. You have to read on your own too. Don't just rely on the classes. Try to read.